All right. May we kindly take our seats? Everybody is here. Thank you. And to the European Parliament, thank you very much for contributing to my diet. Thank you so much for lunch. It was delicious. Lady, was it delicious? Wasn't that great? Your Excellencies, if I can have your silence for just 30 seconds. Can we please close the main door? Thank you. Kindly close the door. We're about to share some secrets. We don't want anybody to hear them. Please close the door. Thank you. Wonderful. Now, the first part of our conversations this morning underlined personal experiences. Our ladies didn't hold back. It also underlined what the world needs to change on the national level, continental level, and of course, naturally, on the global level. In a sense, we would have come to the end of the summit, in a sense. But the end of the summit cannot finish or cannot come along if we don't collaborate on what is next. The world is seeing a lot of conversations, from conferences to summits to workshops. We're being told what to do. We're being told what the problem is. But hardly do we leave saying, now that we acknowledge what the problem is, we are putting into place the solutions. And I like to call the second part of our program today, where we place the solutions and where we make sure that we are accountable for the kinds of change that the world is about to see. So, we do have a series of speeches, but those speeches will begin with a very pivotal part of our summit today, and it is the call to action. You would have seen on your program, the call to action is called, "This is our place." And our place is national, our place is pan-continental, our place is global. I'm going to invite our chair of the Women Political Leaders Board, the one woman whom I honestly think is an example of what violence online can look like. But she fights right back all the time. My very first tweet I read in the morning is she actually lambasting someone for belittling her, and she doesn't stop. She lives the kind of courage many of us are trying to have. And it's no mean feat being a woman in politics around the world and in Africa. Please welcome Obi Ezekwesili, who is our first. Oh, you should see, it's in the walk, it's in the walk. Madam, come and stand right next to me, stand right next to me. It's in the walk. There's nobody who walks better than Obi, I tell you. Now, our second is the president and founder of WPL, Sylvan Koch-Marine. Do you have a walk, my dear? Not too sure? After lunch, give me that walk, give me that walk, it's after lunch. And to complete this call to action, may I kindly have all WPL ambassadors. WPL ambassadors, please join us. Yes, you're going to be going up. WPL ambassadors, please join us. Women political leaders ambassadors, yes, by all means. Ladies, where do you want to go? Okay. Yes, my ambassadors, please join. Please join.
We need an elected.
Do you want to stand here or do you want to stand? Ladies, you stand right here. My WPL ambassadors, please take your stands. You can stand right here. Now we're live online, as I've been told, so please hashtag us as WPL Summit 2023. Anybody else? Sarah, you find where you are? All right.
That's gonna make me too tall.
One is outside. She's on the phone. All right. Let's see if we can bring her in. Okay. Ladies, if you're ready, our call to action, over to you.
Oh, dear sisters, what a delight to have all of you here. You will agree with me that it's been really worth your while to travel all the way here for those that traveled. Am I correct? Come on, give me some energy. You just have lunch. you lady sisters just had lunch, and the Belgians just gave us sumptuous lunch, didn't they? So, thank you. So, it's a WPL manifesto, call to action. And it would be taken by all of us, except that Silvana and I would read and you would all concur. We're here today as women political leaders, 10 years after our inaugural summit, to testify to two truths.
First, representation matters. At a moment when women's lives, livelihoods, and fundamental freedoms are at stake, we must be seen and heard, respected and empowered.
Second, gathered here in the Belgian Federal Parliament, we're saying loud and clear, this is our place. I say that again, this is our place. From legislatures to cabinet ministries to presidents and prime ministers, women belong where the power is. Together, we must meet this moment. Women represent less than 10% of the world's heads of state or government. Women represent only 26% of national legislators around the world.
And women represent only 22.8% of cabinet members heading ministries. At the current rate of progress, women won't reach parity in national legislative bodies for another 130 years. We can and must do better.
Next year will be a super election year with record numbers of countries going to the polls. Women can make parliaments, senates, and all public offices our place. We have two challenges, and they are not just getting women elected into office, but making sure that women are respected when they are in office.
We need women to be welcomed in the room where it happens. We need women to stay in office, to have an impact on debates and decisions, and to move onward and upward in public life. But sadly, instead of moving up, too many capable, committed, and courageous women are being pushed out.
We sponsored a study of women political leaders in 66 countries to find out why. Well, there are ugly obstacles. 85% of women legislators report online harassment and abuse. 11% experience physical violence. Many more are minimized and marginalized. Sticky, wrong stereotypes on what is the place of the woman often kick in. We can and must overcome these obstacles. We're here to stay because this is our place. Here's our plan to move forward.
First, lift up. Provide women political leaders with the resources they need. Second, look out. Watch out for one another. Be aware of the challenges for women seeking and holding public office, from online harassment to outright violence.
And third, stand up. When women are disrespected or endangered, stand up for them. Make it clear that when one of us is targeted, we are all targeted, and therefore we all stand together. Community, cohesiveness, and vigilance. That is our call to action, so that public office and public service really is our place. And dear sisters, we have talked about the role of constitutionalism in entrenching the important elements that promote gender inclusion, equality, and equity. We have talked about legal and policy changes. We have talked about education and mindset behavioral modification and all the things that are important for it. We have talked about role modeling. We have talked about building networks. But even more important, we have talked about our role as the glue that will make the world a better place for everybody to thrive, with equal opportunity to everything that we all need in order to have a stable, prosperous, and harmonious world. And that is our call to action. Thank you very much.
Ladies, our call to action is this is our place. I'm going to break a protocol, but you will forgive me. What I was actually hoping would happen after that powerful statement was that we will sing in chorus, "This is our place." So ladies, I'm going to count down as we would at a birthday party. And instead of the grand hooray, we are going to chant together, "This is our place." So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, this side of the choir is losing. Or is it this side? We're going to try this again. Because from here in Europe, and then across Africa to Asia, to North America, to Australia, where have I missed? New Zealand, Argentina. They need to hear what happened here in the European Parliament. So I'm going to count down one more time. Otherwise, we'll stay here till 6 p.m. and I don't mind. I know a lot of pilots, they'll hold the plane for you. So ladies, one more time. Let's get the world to hear us. In 3, 2, 1. Did you feel it? Are you sure you did? Or is the lunch still working on you? Oh, not yet, huh? All right. So, ladies, we will continue to sing this chorus. Sing it in your heart, sing it in your offices, sing it in your parliaments. Don't just sing it to yourself. Teach your girls, your women, your allies how to sing the song, "This is our place." And with that said, to share her keynote speech, please welcome the Prime Minister of Finland, Sanna Marin.
Ladies, distinguished guests, and of course the few gentlemen here as well. Female leadership is often approached through the lens of obstacles and barriers holding us back. Since we are all more than familiar with these obstacles, I decided to approach this theme by talking about what makes female leadership possible. I believe that all of us can recognize the value of female role models, democratic structures making female leadership possible, and the importance of young women embracing their rightful place in decision-making and politics. Before I dive deeper into these themes, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the exceptional work and importance of the Women Political Leaders Network. This esteemed organization brings together a remarkable community of women in political office, including presidents, prime ministers, cabinet ministers, members of parliaments, and mayors. It is an important voice reminding citizens and decision makers of the importance of having more women in political leadership. By facilitating dialogue, sharing best practices, and creating networks, women political leaders support women in navigating the challenges of political leadership. Through this work, it also plays an important role in breaking barriers and paving the way for a more inclusive and equal world. As my first point, I would like to emphasize the significance of female role models in politics and elsewhere in society. The importance of role models does not lie in the idea that having women in certain positions would be valuable by itself. What really matters is diversity, the lesson for all younger people from all genders that leadership can look like them. Diversity is important because gender is not a limitation to leadership, but rather an asset that brings diverse perspectives and approaches to governance. Throughout my own journey, I have been incredibly fortunate to have had the opportunity to learn from remarkable women in Finnish politics. These trailblazers have paved the way for me and others, proving that gender should never slow you down in achieving one's political ambitions. As I look around this room today, I see a gathering of accomplished individuals who themselves serve as powerful role models for all women. Each of you has contributed to the achievements of gender equality in politics, and your presence here today is a sign of the progress we have together made. By sharing your stories, insights, and experiences in the discussion of this meeting, you inspired the next generation of leaders and encouraged them to believe that their voices matter and that their aspirations are within reach. For that, I want to say thank you to women political leaders and all of you present here today. As my second point, I would like to emphasize the democratic structures making female leadership possible. It is a statistical fact that the highest numbers of elected female politicians come from the Nordic countries, and it is no coincidence. The Nordic model, based on the idea of democracy, equal opportunities, and social welfare, has clearly created an environment where gender does not limit one's potential as much as many other countries. The structures of gender equality lie in the social progress and everyday practices such as family leave policies, affordable daycare, and free high-quality education for all. I am immensely proud to represent a country that embraces these values and remains committed to ensuring a more equitable society for all. And I believe that we should keep on working for more equal political structures in order to advance the role of women and all genders in politics. Lastly, I want to address the young women of today and encourage them to step up and take their place in decision-making and in the political world. I firmly believe that the need of their perspectives, ideas, and contributions to shape policies and drive positive change. By encouraging and empowering them, we not only strengthen our democracies, but also lay the foundation for a brighter, more inclusive future. Young women are the leaders of tomorrow, and it is our responsibility to ensure that they have the tools and opportunities that they need to succeed. In conclusion, I want to emphasize the significance of these three themes: the value of female role models, democratic structures making female leadership possible, and the importance of young women embracing their rightful place in decision-making and politics. All these questions are interconnected and vital for achieving true gender equality and progress in our societies. By celebrating the achievements of women, embracing inclusive models of governance, and encouraging the next generation to lead, we can create a world where every individual, regardless of gender, can reach their full potential. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you today.
And now, a crucial part of what the last 2 days will finally crescendo into. We have a series of national delegation statements. And of course, awards. So let me hand over to Sarah Besolo Nyanti. And she's going to be taking us through the last few elements of today's gathering. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you for your leadership of the sessions today. Fantastic. Can we give her a big hand clap? So the next session we have is an amazing session, which is where we're going to have our own president of Ethiopia to give us a keynote. But before she comes up to give us the keynote, well, I think we have a little bit of a confusion.
Okay, Madam President had previously given us a keynote.
So I have the adjusted run of events. And so what we're going to have now is the award ceremony to ensure that trailblazers are honored, trailblazers are recognized, and trailblazers are given the opportunity to share with us a few comments about what they've been able to do. People who blaze the trail, women who blaze the trail are women who set the pace for all of us. And women who blaze the trail are the ones who definitely, surely, can say to us that they are our role models. They've exemplified leadership in ways that we feel we can follow. I shared yesterday the pathway of one of the trailblazers today, that pathway is a pathway that looks very familiar to me in terms of how she started. And so today I want to say that we honor you, we respect you, and for sure, definitely, we want all of us here to recognize you. So with that, we'll call on the first honoree. The presentation of the award will be done by our very own Dr. Obi Ezekwesili and our very own Silvana Hawk-Marin.
I'm sure you realize when I was seated, I was so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. I'm standing and now I'm in my element. So the first Trailblazer Award will be presented to our own President of Ethiopia, Her Excellency, Sahle-Work Zewde, for her exemplary leadership, for her spectacular leadership, for blazing the trail within the UN, outside the UN, in government, and in every space that she has occupied. She has occupied her space. Please come forward for your award. We'll now have an acceptance speech.
The box has been. I have a small speech, but yes. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear sisters, I'm really happy to be here today, as I said yesterday, but I must confess that it is while preparing to come to Brussels that I knew that the two houses in this country were led by women. This is the problem that we have. We don't know enough about one another. And I hope that we will correct that by creating this network that we talked earlier. It's with a great honor and humility that I receive this award. Thank you very much for Women Political Leaders Organization for organizing this kind of award for those who succeed in what they do, because recognizing is key. Otherwise, we remain forgotten. We remain, unknown for many. So, as the Prime Minister of Finland just said, we need role models. We need those who trail, who open the path for the others, and that's very important. And this is done by recognizing some of us. So, but trailblazers are not only those who did something as the first woman to do it. It is indeed, but it's also those who paved the way for others, those who fight for the door which has been opened, the door of opportunity for them remains open for others, for other women as well. That they are not just content with the position that they have and remain sometimes the tree hiding the huge forest behind them, because these are women behind them that we need to push forward. I decided to come here to receive this award, and my dear sister Obi has a lot to do with that. Because first of all, one has to understand well what political means. There is so much confusion about it. And then, well, there is a lot to do, where they are coming from. But I decided, you know why? Because I would like to dedicate this award to the brave and courageous women in my country. Those courageous and resilient Ethiopian women who have shown it in the past years. Those who are still in the IDP camps. Those now caring for their family as single parent. The injured female combatants that I have visited in a hospital a few months ago, who told me the only dream that they have is to go back to school. Because if you are not educated women, they know they will never succeed. The victims of many forms of violence, the peacemakers, mediators who tried their own way without any training to bring peace, who should definitely be at the table. Those who dedicate, their time and energy to work on women, peace, and security. So I think it's very important that we do that, and I really, really want to dedicate this award to them. But I also think of the brave women that I have met in many parts of Africa where I served as a senior official of the United Nations. Some of them, including my own house help in the Central African Republic, was the best political officer that I had. She would tell me exactly what is happening instead of, some complicated way of presenting situations which will apply to Central Africa as it would apply to Nepal or whatever. So I think of them, those who remained honest in what they do. A girl who have been validated by her father, and I take it from Obi, can reach anywhere. I am one of those. My father raised me to take life and responsibilities beyond gender barriers. He always said to me, in tough times, you may bend, but never break, never abandon, never, allow this to happen to you. That has guided me all the way till this time. So I owe him, and of course, my mother, for what I am today. May God help us all in what we do. We have a huge responsibility, but nothing can be more emphasized than networking among ourselves. So I take it from what we just read. This is our place. Lift up, look out, stand up. We're in this together. Thank you very much again.
You're clapping for years of service to humanity, years of service to women, years of service to children, years of service to the world. We'll now call on the next honoree, and I have to say something before I call her up. Her Excellency Sanna Marin, Prime Minister of Finland. I'm sure she doesn't know this, but I've danced her dance. And in my office, my head of office is a Finn. And we follow you, we adore you. The women political leaders adore you. All of us adore you. You are a trailblazer like no other.
Thank you so much for this great honor and recognition. It's really an honor, true honor, to receive this award. As we heard earlier today, the sad numbers that it will take at this pace 130 years to reach equality in leadership, political leadership. This will just not do. So we need to do something, and what we need to do, we need to support each other. Women need to support each other, and this is why this kind of networks, this kind of work, it's so important. And it's truly an honor to receive this award and be here today with this amazing, amazing women, these amazing political leaders. So thank you so much for this recognition.
Thank you. We can do better than that in thanking her. Woo! We'll next have Her Excellency Natalia Gavrilita, Prime Minister of Moldova, coming forward to accept her Trailblazer Award. Not because she carries a title, but because she's occupied her space as a trailblazer. We'll now have our acceptance speech by Her Excellency.
Thank you very much to you all and for women political leaders for this recognition. And allow me to accept it on behalf of the many women in Moldova that have laid the path for me to be here. You know we have an inspirational leader in President Maia Sandu. You know that my colleagues in the Party of Action and Solidarity have insisted that we have a double quota that brought 40% of women in parliament, and now we are implementing the double quota on the local level as well. And I want to admire the courage of women who decided to get involved in politics because they want to change the world, because they wanted to leave a better world to future generations. And due to these women, Moldova, in the last several years, in the toughest period since its independence, has been consistently punching above its weight. As I talked yesterday in my keynote address, we demonstrated that a woman's job is governing, is leadership, is politics. And when young women ask me for advice, you know, I tell them it's going to be hard, and they need to find their allies, they need to find their team. Nobody can do it alone. This is why the call for action that we've just heard is so important. This is why it's so important that we stick together. And I'm sure that each of you, each and every one of us, has a team of like-minded people around us, but also a team that supports us, because in order to make it in this difficult environment, we need to have partners around, we need to have extended family, we need to have a network of friends, we need public services that help us take care of our families and also make sure that we are there when the responsibility calls. And I will use this opportunity to give a personal note and a personal touch. When we had thousands of Ukrainian refugees at the border with Moldova, my son was with fever, with chickenpox, and I needed my support network to hug him and to tell him that his mom is doing a job that helps other children have a better life, helps other children to have a chance to fulfill their potential. And I really want to thank my son. He's only 8, but someday I'm sure he will understand why mom wasn't there sometimes, and he will be proud that he will live in a better place because we have contributed, because we have sacrificed, because we have dedicated our passion to what we believe in. And I'm sure that he will support other women. And of course, I want to thank my mom, who made sure that I could spend long hours in the office, that I could spend my time at the border, that I could go to where the responsibility called, so that we can all be effective, and so that we can achieve what we set our mind to achieve. So I encourage people and women especially to dare to follow their dreams, to change the world, and to do it together, because we are only effective when we work together. Thank you.
Let's clap with the energy it deserves. Better than that. Big hand clap. Before our next recipient comes up, I want to remind us that yesterday, Ireland received a Peace Award. And it's important for us to reflect. Ireland didn't achieve peacefulness in a year. They didn't even achieve it in a decade. It's because there was a woman who laid the seeds. She planted the seeds of peace in the land of Ireland. Let's give her a big round of applause. Her Excellency, Mary Robinson. Woo!
First of all, really thank you so much, not just for this award, but in very distinguished company. I'm going to be very short because I was very long before lunch, you remember. I remember Archbishop Tutu putting it very well when he said, when you receive an award, you are on the shoulders of so many. And he's right. You know, looking back on my own life, I had the nerve, because I'd been at the Harvard Law School, and I came back to Ireland, and I stood for the Irish Senate at the age of 25. It was a university seat. We still have university seats, 6 seats in the Senate, which are 60 members. It was always elderly male professors, and they knew that was their right to be there almost. And it was a big challenge. And just that support and that belief, it kind of set a course. I would never have done it without the experience of seeing young people in Harvard take responsibility. We all learn. So I agree with all the points about young women being encouraged, being mentored, all of the excellent points of my colleagues. I also want to reflect when I was running for the presidency. Afterwards, on the night of my election, I thanked the women of Ireland who, instead of rocking the cradle, rocked the system. And we have to rock the system. We have to rock the system. And, back to what I was saying earlier, we have to give the lead now on this crisis that is destroying our world, the climate and nature crisis. We have to step up. And how do we step up? I didn't really explain that probably. It's use your voice and actually make it clear that you are part of this platform of Project Dandelion. It's only a light touch platform, but say, I am Dandelion, or I think, and just be part of a movement to save the world. Women forever. Women save the world.
And as the photographer comes to take that picture, I want us to remember something I said when she was going up. Seeds of peace. Seeds of peace. We're now going to call on all 4 recipients to please come forward for a photo with the chair of WPL and the president of WPL. And after that photo, I'm sneaking in one, by the way. We're going to ask the President of Ethiopia to please give us a moment. President of Ethiopia with Dr. Obi and Silvana. We need one more picture. Okay, we need one more picture. One more picture, yes. Yes. I want us to give all of them a big hand of applause. A big hand of applause. And before we close out the ceremony, as you look at the 4 women seated at the front here, these 4 phenomenal leaders, I want you to look around the room and look at each other, the women in this room. That could be the 4 of any one of you tomorrow. Do you see them? Do you see them? Do you see them? See yourself. See yourself in them. See yourself through them, because this is your place. This is your place. This is your place. Occupy your space. And as you leave from here, plant the seeds of peace. Plant the seeds of peace. Thank you. We'll now be moving on to the national delegation statements as the facilitator for that session comes forward. And I'm going to be so selfish. I'm going to just walk across the room and watch my walk. And I'm coming here. I'm going to take a photo with them right here. Where's the photographer? You have to get the moment. And I'm asking all those who are speaking on behalf of their countries, all the national delegates, to please get ready as we prepare for your statements for this afternoon. You're actually speaking as delegates for your country. representing your countries. I don't have the list of delegates who are speaking today. But I'll ask, we can go in alphabetical order? Okay, here's the order. So we'll start with, I have the list, and we'll start with Montenegro. Montenegro? Awesome. Yes, please.
So, welcome Montenegro. Oh, now I feel at ease again, ladies, at my place. So, welcome Montenegro. The floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Stephanie. Thank you, ladies, sisters, and a few gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'm so very proud to be able to address all of you today from this wonderful place, thank you, Stephanie, for letting us use your place, which we call today our place. I'm so proud to see so many strong and powerful women. I'm so proud to be part of all of you together today. We are strong and powerful women who can change the world. So occupy the space and change the world. Ladies, please, one huge applause for ourselves. Despite many efforts, I need to address you on behalf of Montenegro. So I will talking about Montenegro, which is not that colorful as I would hope. Despite many efforts that Montenegro has been investing for decades, seeking to ensure an equality of opportunity, we continue to witness strong gender-divided roles dictated by the patriarchal patterns that we haven't been able to eliminate yet. Unlike men, women have to work much harder and more intensively to validate that their expertise and capability and to prove that they occupy decision-making posts due to their merits and not because of quotas. Unfortunately, the recently held municipal elections showed that women were minimally represented on electoral lists, which violates the principles of quota regulated by law. If we disobey this standard, it is very likely that we will witness a decline in already small number of women councillors, which will result in further deepening of the existing inequality. In order to achieve gender equal political representations, it is necessary to promote the application of the existing tools, quotas, unfortunately evil, but very much needed, but also to extend them to the political parties themselves, which through these and similar measures would show their undeniable readiness to support women's political activists. Attention should be also paid to various trainings and leadership programs for women. Those programs do not only teach women on how to understand institutional procedures, but help them also to create communities, become self-confident, more secure and decisive, whereby they also learn self-defense mechanism against oppression. When speaking about budgeting and procedures in Montenegro, political parties who have women associations do get additional funds for promoting and improvement of women participation in politics. Unfortunately, not always used in the right place. I proudly emphasize that the women's MPs of Parliament of Montenegro of this mandate have established Women's Parliamentary Club, and that is for the first time, and that our club have managed to overcome party differences, to initiate and adoption of number of legal solutions primarily focused on improving the position of women and children. In this matter, we have proved that we are ready to cooperate and contribute to development of our community. But first and most of all, we have proved that there is real political dialogue, that we are compassionate, that we are working with each other, and women together can really make a change. In order to speed up their political careers, women need communication, connection, communities. This summit, as we are having yesterday and today, really aims to increase both the number and the influence of women in political leadership positions by optimizing the power of communication and connection to build the new communities of knowledge for women political leaders everywhere. Dear ladies, lady sisters, as Stephanie said, I hope that next time we meet, our goal will be much closer, working together despite all the issues and all the obstacles we have. This is the only way how to obtain what we really want, and this is equality in the world. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you today.
Thank you so much, my dear friends. And now I would like to ask my dear colleague, my also good friend, who is from the Belgian Federal Parliament. May I ask for your applause for Goedele Liekes. Goedele.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Ladies, honorable guests, I say ladies and the few courageous men who are here with us, welcome to Brussels, our beautiful capital, the place where 10 years ago the first summit of WPL was held. So this is our anniversary. Congrats, all of you. So, and indeed we do have something to celebrate, luckily, as our Prime Minister Alexander De Croo, as he boldly always declares, this is the century of women that we are living in. And he's not only right, he's also putting it into practice. You know, we are making progress, luckily. More and more women are finding their way into politics, more than ever before. But, and we know there's always a but, and in this case there's a few buts. As we have heard in the manifesto, we are not there yet. It's going too slow. I think that's the major conclusion. It's going too slow. At the current pace, it will take until 2063 before women are equally represented in parliaments worldwide, and at the highest positions, as we've heard, at the highest positions of power, meaning heads of state or government, it will take even another 130 years. And then we all think, oh, well, maybe that's in the remote areas, but I have a sad thing to tell you about Belgium even, the center of Europe. Even here, only 14.5% of our majors are female, 14.5 in Belgium. And okay, I have to admit that it's better when you look at the local council members. There the situation is slightly better. It's 38% of the local politicians that are women. But, and here's a major concern of mine, 1 out of 6 of female politicians in Belgium will quit. 1 out of 6. They will quit before the end of their mandate. And that's not taking into account those who won't run again. So it's a huge problem because, as I already said, it's going too slow, and how will we ever achieve equal representation? And of course, there's many barriers and many reasons for this. It has to do, beyond any doubt, with the family-unfriendly meeting hours. Even in our parliament, we do not have the right for online hearings, unfortunately. But this, and this is what we talked about at the last CSW at New York, it has to do, beyond any doubt, with the huge amount of hate speech, sexism and harassment that we suffer as female politicians, mainly online. Comments on how we look, how our hair looks, how we dress, who we fucked to get to that place. And you might say, yeah, maybe you're too sensitive and you're not used to something, but I've been a journalist, a TV journalist for 20 years. I've been a goodwill ambassador for UNFPA for 20 years, so I'm quite used to being in the spotlights out there. But it's not only the amount, but the cruelness, the hardness, the female unfriendly comments are much, much worse when you're a politician. And I think that's really very painful. You can disagree with my political ideas, you can reject them, but that has nothing to do with my ass being too big or too small in that dress, or with being a terrible woman speaking so loud as I do now, or being, oh, my poor man, the guy who's in the shadow behind me, or even worse, the children having an ambitious mother like that. I mean, these are personal attacks. And as we've heard in the manifesto, 85% of female politicians suffer from these verbal aggressions. And you know how we then are. We tell ourselves, we are strong, we can stand this, we can handle it. But this is not okay. This is not trivial. This is abuse. And the effects, and that's why it's so bad, the effects are vicious. We censor ourselves online, we are very careful with what we post, or even worse, we leave social media. But how can we spread our ideas our mission if we're not on social media? How will we get the visibility we need to get re-elected? We need social media to freely express our opinions. And the second result of that is that young girls, talented young girls, the ones we need to speak out, to step out there, they won't do that. I have 2 daughters in their early 20s. They look at me and they go, Mama, are you crazy? Why would somebody do this? Why would you suffer all these harassments? They will not be a politician, and that's really a loss, because I'm sure my girls would do great. We need the influx of women. It's important for democracy. We've talked about this the last days. So that's my conclusion. We have to take the online aggression towards female politicians. We have to take it serious. We need online safety to do our job, to bring our topics. For real gender equality in politics, we shouldn't just survive technology, we should enjoy it, and we should be able to use it safely. Because, as my dear friend Stephanie Doze, she said, after all, women political leaders are not just standing up for themselves, we're all above standing up for all women worldwide. Let's take it serious. Thank you.
Thank you, Goedele. And now I would like to ask and to give the floor to Italy. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you. Dear Madam Speaker of the Senate, dear Madam Speaker of the House of Representatives, dear colleagues, dear sisters, I would like to thank you for enabling us to take part in this fruitful work of the Women Political Leaders Summit. For years, women's participation in politics has been hampered by barriers embedded in sociocultural systems emphasizing traditional gender roles and restricting educational and economic opportunities for women. The high number of men among world leaders is a reflection of these entrenched beliefs, which consider politics as a male-dominated issue. In order to achieve a reliable gender equality in politics, a twofold transformation, structural and cultural, is needed. On the one hand, it's essential to provide women with inadequate access to education, to promote opportunities for them in order to be economically independent, and to create all the conditions to enable them to compete for leadership roles. On the other hand, we have to fight against existing gender biases that wrongly portray politics as an unsuitable profession for women. Political organizations and parties have a central role to play in the promotion of this change. This does not simply mean to select women in order to comply with quotas, but to look for well-qualified and competent women to hold positions of responsibility. Adopting domestic policies that promote gender equality can help create a more inclusive environment for women. Furthermore, targeted political education, and developing skill sets for women can be effective tools to support women in assuming leadership roles. For the first time in Italy, we have a woman serving as Prime Minister. It's certainly an important sign of change, which immediately led to a relevant effect. The major opposition party have just chosen her first chairwoman. Change leads more change. Now, here, all together, we are the real change. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those beautiful words. And now I would like to give the floor to Brazil. Okay. The representatives of Brazil are not in the room? No? Yes, you... Can I give the floor? Yes. Sorry, I give the floor to you, Ukraine.
Yeah. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. I'm representative Ukrainian Parliament. The war in Ukraine has been going on for 8 years after the occupation Russia of Crimea and Donbas region. Russia blew up the Kakhovskaya hydroelectric power plant, which is a power terrorism that causes a man-made disaster on the clays of Chernobyl. And now, when the evacuated of people from a flood village continue, Russia is shelling the boats with artillery. Thousands of schools and hospitals have been destroyed, and then thousands of civilians have lost their lives. More than 20,000 Ukrainian children have been illegally deported to Russia, which is nothing else but genocide. Hundreds of thousands of hectares of land have been mined, causing several environmental damage, and that is ecocide. We extend our gratitude to the country that have already recognized that action of genocide, and we call on all nations to support the creation of the tribunal and ensure fair punishment for Russia. Russia is established detention camps in the occupied territory with over 27,000 civilians held in prison. The Red Cross does not have access to them and is effort to assist in the release of prisoners. This war has organized the degradation of international institutions, such as the EU, when Russia aboused its veto power and disrupted others. Every day, Russian forces are killed Ukrainian children. I live in Kyiv, where every night residents seek shelter from shelling. Children have to study in shelling, and women give birth in shelter. The youngest victim killed by Russian missiles was only 2 days old. Currently, 50,000 children have lost their lives. Ukrainians have also become victims of sexual violation, with the youngest victim being 4 years old and the oldest being 85. Today, more than 60,000 Ukrainian women are fighting defense our country. Ukraine would like to end the war that we didn't start. Ukraine wants to receive security guarantees. The only effective guarantees of security for Ukraine is member of the NATO. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ukraine. As you see, I have had to continue because our dear host, Stephanie, has to go and carry on with another set of meetings. That's part of what happens with female leadership, isn't it? You're doing multitasking. And so we're going to continue with the country delegations and the statements. So we'll ask the Angolan delegation to come up and give us a statement. Please clap to encourage people who are coming. If we can keep it as brief as possible, then we can take as many of us as possible.
Senhora Presidente, permitam-me falar em português e associar a minha voz à das nossas irmãs que das várias partes do mundo estão juntas durante 2 dias na hospitaleira cidade de Bruxelas para falar sobre paz, entendimento, diálogo e cooperação a favor das liberdades e da democracia, a favor de direitos iguais para as mulheres nos vários domínios. Estamos convencidas que o reforço da solidariedade entre as instituições que representamos e o reforço do entendimento e da amizade entre nós, mulheres, são fundamentais para que as mulheres possam ser as geradoras e promotoras de mudanças a nível local e global a favor da paz, da reconciliação e da construção de um mundo melhor para os nossos filhos. A ação das mulheres políticas do mundo deverá fazer sentir o seu papel e a sua intervenção a todos os níveis, para podermos ser a todos os níveis das nossas instituições, onde estamos presentes e representadas, ativistas consequentes a favor dos direitos das mulheres, defensoras da não-violência, ter voz para denunciar a discriminação política, económica e social que ainda afeta a ascensão e a representatividade das mulheres nos órgãos de tomada de decisão política, que consigamos ser mulheres determinadas na adoção de políticas a favor da igualdade de outras mulheres e impulsionar iniciativas legislativas para que tenhamos mais oportunidade de acesso à educação, à tomada de decisão, tenhamos vez e voz para decidir sobre o bem-estar e a prosperidade das famílias e o futuro dos nossos países. Futuro que deve ser de paz, de desenvolvimento duradouro e de justiça, de integração e de inclusão social, respeitando os direitos fundamentais da pessoa humana e as oportunidades iguais para homens e para mulheres. As mulheres são hoje o suporte fundamental da sociedade, das sociedades democratas e defensoras intransigentes da justiça e da lei. Em Angola, o ativismo feminino é muito dinâmico e são encorajadoras os avanços da mulher na política. Eu estou a chefiar a delegação do Parlamento da República de Angola enquanto speaker do meu país, um parlamento unicameral que conta com a representação de 5 partidos políticos e que é composto por 38% de mulheres num universo de 220 deputados. O nosso Parlamento reflete a diversidade e o equilíbrio do género e das gerações, e são mais de 60% dos jovens que são deputados, e as mulheres são a maioria da nossa população e também estão representadas devidamente no Parlamento, assumindo 3 das mais importantes comissões de trabalho, designadamente a Comissão da Defesa e Segurança, da Economia e Finanças e da Ação Social, Infância e Família. Através de uma intensa diplomacia parlamentar e humanitária, o Parlamento angolano tem vindo a priorizar a agenda da paz, da estabilidade, da segurança e da promoção e preservação da cultura de paz como base do desenvolvimento e da justiça. A nível parlamentar, temos vindo a promover debates a alto nível e também com a sociedade civil, a favor da paz, da igualdade do género, denunciando a violência contra as mulheres e contra as meninas. Tem sido evidente o papel do Parlamento do meu país na solidariedade para com as populações da República Democrática do Congo, que conhece um conflito armado com consequências nefastas na estabilidade desta região, e é importante que, através de um diálogo permanente e a deposição das armas por parte das forças rebeldes, se encontre o caminho da paz para que tenham fim os crimes desumanos contra as populações civis indefesas, crimes transfronteiriços e a violação permanente dos direitos humanos. Caras irmãs, saímos desta conferência conscientes de que iremos continuar a denunciar os obstáculos que impedem o total e livre exercício da liberdade das mulheres em participar em pé de igualdade na política dos nossos países, a todos os níveis, continuar a lutar para a tomada de decisão e impulsionar iniciativas para a educação permanente das jovens meninas, contribuir para promover oportunidades iguais a todas as mulheres, para melhorar a situação de milhões de outras mulheres que esperam de nós, líderes, políticas, mais solidariedade, mais oportunidades e, sobretudo, mais reconhecimento do importante papel que poderemos jogar a favor de um futuro melhor para todos e para todas. Que continuemos a ser nós, as mulheres, as geradoras e promotoras da paz e da igualdade no mundo. Muito obrigado.
Thank you so very much, dear sister. And travel well. She has to leave. Let's call on Israel. Israel. Please call for our sister from Israel.
Dear colleagues, good afternoon. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today and to address you all. My name is Efrat Reiten. I'm a lawyer, a mediator, and a Knesset member of the Labour Party, representing the Labour Party. Of course, a mom. In 1948, 75 years ago, the State of Israel was founded. From the outset, the fundamental principles and first law of the new nation established the equal right of women to vote and to be elected. This was far ahead of many other democratic countries. The pursuit of gender equality has always been part and parcel of Israel's identity as a liberal democratic country, an identity whose light we live by and one which we strive to preserve. In that light, exactly, women in Israel have always been a positive factor in promoting coexistence, peace, innovation, and human rights. These lofty normative concepts form the bedrock of our nation, which we must safeguard and nurture while we continue to solidify additional values and rights. Women's rights and gender equality is not just a slogan. It's rather a worldview that represents a society committed to promoting equality, wisdom, and inclusion. Women at the heart of decision-making are ambassadors for the fair representations of women in all other fields, and they bring with them unique insights and perspectives. Only in a strong, self-confidence, pluralistic, and democratic society that allows equal opportunities for every man and woman, we can cultivate the most interesting, important innovations and to become what we called a start-up nation. As a member of the Judicial Selection Committee, I worked to ensure that over 50% of appointed judges to the Israeli court are women. As the court is a stronghold for justice, minority rights, and equality in Israel, and because representation matters. As the chair of the Knesset's Labor and Welfare Committee, I work to ensure the Israeli women's right to abortion, one of the most disputed issues today.
I managed to amend the complicated abortion process. Now I am proud to say that the process is simpler, more respectful, and gives every woman the right over her body. I am currently leading an additional legislative amendments, including abolishing the statute of limitation of sexual offenses in order to allow every victim the right to justice. Each amendment and each step of this kind brings us closer to gender equality and helps foster an equal and respectful space for women to advance and to excel. The steps we are taking, combined with many other, highlights the significant contributions from women who are torch barriers for democratic values and individual rights. These contributions are particularly crucial in the current Israeli moment. To conclude, even though we hail from different cultures, the interests and values we share are deeply felt and very much alive. I feel a deep sense of gratitude toward this wonderful organization, WPL. It has given me a tremendous opportunity to exchange ideas, connecting our worldview for the purpose of women's advancement. A noble global pursuit entirely dedicated to creating a positive impact. Thank you so much for every one of you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Israel. Thank you. The next country is Argentina. Argentina. Yes, please.
Hola. Bueno, muy buenas tardes a todas. Espero que nos podamos entender. No sé si hay traducción. ¿Sí? No hay traducción. Bueno, ¿sí? ¿En portugués? Bueno, es lo más cercano al español. Lo que pasa que mi inglés no es muy bueno y quiero contarles cosas que para mí es importante poder expresarlo de la mejor manera posible y eso lo voy a poder hacer mucho mejor en español. Excelente. ¿In English? ¿In English? Bien. Bueno, la verdad les quiero contar que en Argentina, nosotras, las mujeres políticas argentinas, tenemos un enorme espacio que hemos ganado a fuerza de mucha organización y de muchísimas luchas que hemos llevado adelante que nos han permitido hoy decir que tenemos una legislación, diría que de avanzada respecto a la ampliación de derechos vinculados a nosotras las mujeres, para ampliar derechos en términos generales a las ciudadanas argentinas, pero también para la participación política y la representación política. Nosotros en la Argentina desde la década del 90 empezamos a tener nuestra primera ley de cupo para poder integrar en un 30% las listas de representación para las elecciones legislativas. Ese primer 30% nos permitió ser parte de lo que también se habló a lo largo de este foro, ¿no? La necesidad de estar, porque el estar en apenas ese 30% nos permitió llevar una agenda legislativa que de otra manera no hubiera sido posible. Al tener ese 30% de representación, llegamos hoy a tener lo que llamamos la paridad en las listas de representación en las elecciones legislativas. Es decir, que nosotros tenemos un 50% de varones y un 50% de mujeres en cada una de las elecciones legislativas en la República Argentina, lo que nos da esa mitad de representación, a pesar de que en la República Argentina, según los últimos censos, nosotras las mujeres somos más. Pero tenemos la mitad de la representación en términos legislativos. Tenemos leyes, por ejemplo, ayer, para nosotras es una excelente noticia, en la Argentina se reglamentó la ley de paridad de mujeres en medios de comunicación, un tema que es central, una ley de la que fui parte, impulsora, porque entiendo perfectamente que para que podamos deconstruir ese estado en términos generales, lo digo, no solo es político, patriarcal, necesitamos estar sobre todo en los medios de comunicación. Es desde ahí, desde donde entramos, ingresamos a la construcción de estas narrativas, y esta narrativa que se empieza a hacer desde los medios de comunicación nos necesitan presentes, lo digo además como periodista que soy también, además de diputada nacional, tenemos que estar presentes en esa construcción de esas narrativas y en la toma de decisiones de cada una de las editoriales y de los temas que se tratan en los medios de comunicación para poder deconstruir. Yo digo que esa verdadera deconstrucción se necesita a través de los medios de comunicación acompañando con nuestra presencia. Así que ayer en la Argentina se promulgó y se reglamentó esta ley de paridad para medios de comunicación, que esto tiene que ver no solo con periodistas delante de cámaras o escribiendo notas, sino como periodistas que están detrás de cámaras produciendo y eligiendo el contenido que se va a comunicar y dirigiendo esos medios de comunicación. En materia legislativa, como decía, somos un país que ha avanzado muchísimo y yo siempre digo que son todas leyes que yo espero y anhelo que a partir de lo que nosotros venimos trabajando y todo lo que venimos trabajando también en este espacio de construcción sean leyes que en algún momento no las necesitemos, ¿no? Son leyes que hoy nos permiten ser parte, pero yo espero llegar a una sociedad, a sociedades en las que no necesitemos legislar para poder ser parte, sino que seamos parte porque somos parte. Así que les quería contar y transmitir lo que nos atraviesa como sociedad en la República Argentina, que no es ni más ni menos que un poco de lo que nos pasa a cada una de las sociedades hoy representadas en este foro, que agradezco y mucho poder ser parte y compartir, ¿no?, las experiencias de cada una con las distintas idiosincrasias y con las distintas culturas que hoy comulgan en este espacio, pero con un denominador común, y es que somos mujeres políticas y que queremos ampliar esos derechos a todas en todo el mundo. Así que muchísimas gracias, espero que nos veamos el año que viene. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you, Argentina. Thank you. Next we call on Jordan.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
For nearly 40 years, Jordan's law made it possible for women to vote and to run for election for parliament. Despite this, the first woman elected was in parliament 1993, nearly 20 years after the law was passed. This is mainly due to the barriers that keep women out of politics, which are rooted in traditional gender rules, cultural norms, limited government representation, and societal perceptions and biases. Also, limited access to resources and economic constraints which impede women participation. To achieve parity in political leadership, concentrated efforts are required. In 2022, Jordan amended the political parties law and required political parties to increase the percentage of women to at least 20% within 3 years after their foundation, which we are proud of this. To enhance women's contribution in government, Jordan should promote gender equality through additional legal reforms and provide training programs for aspiring women leaders. It should actively recruit talented women, provide support and mentorship, establish inclusive spaces, promote women's leaderships, addresses gender biases, and create a supportive environment. It's also crucial to foster women's confidence by raising awareness about their rights and responsibilities, and reform the education system from young age to raise awareness of both men and women to their rights and responsibilities in respect of gender equality as an issue of justice, which in turn will change the mindset and break the traditional norms on women's roles. In conclusion, achieving gender parity in politics requires an inclusive approach and comprehensive support for successful women. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sister from Jordan. Now we're going to take Indonesia. Yes, Indonesia. Talk about hyping your country.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's an honor and great pleasure to be here. I believe all of us share the same commitment. Let's occupy our place because this is our place. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and sisters, honorable guests, Indonesia will hold a general election in 2024 in which presidential and legislative elections are set at the same time. The urgency of women representation and leadership in government body and parliament remain a topic of discussion that the public cannot ignore. Women's representation in Indonesia in the past 2 decades saw us a positive trend. In the 2019 election marked the highest figure of 20.9% for elected women in the national parliament. And for the first time, Indonesia elected our first women speaker of the House of Representatives. In addition, representation of women in parliament should not only about the number, but more substantive representation where they can produce gender-responsive policy and encourage gender equity in the society. With long struggle and fights, Indonesian parliament has passed the law number 12/2022 about eradicating sex-based violence. It provided a legal protection for women and children against sex and gender-based violence in their social life. This increasing trend of women's representation means that Indonesian democracy is heading towards a better direction. Women representative in politics is not achieved without obstacles. Political networks, financial resources, and patriarchal attitudes in the societies remain crucial to women's electability and play a critical role as barrier for women in politics. As the third largest democratic country in the world, Indonesia is committed to eliminate the barrier and advocate the women representation and leadership in decision-making level. The undertaking to get parity in women's representation is continuously carried out. To create a safe space for women to thrive, political parties play important part to change their narrative from male-dominated space into a more inclusive institution. The implementation of affirmative quota of 30% of women must be truly implemented and overlooked. Political parties should not make women's representation a mere descriptive representation. Equal assistance and support for women during their candidacy are very much needed. Research showed that women who started their pathway from grassroots level and have women-focused networks and programs are more likely to be elected. Political education and strategic campaign shall bear the key to increase electability of women in politics. Furthermore, multilateral efforts should be part of the strategy to promote women's representation and leadership. Through its leadership of ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, Indonesian Parliament, together with the parliaments of Asian countries, have carried out the meeting of women of IPA in early June 2023. This effort should be platform for interstate dialogues which advocate gender transformative commitment and actions. It is essential that regional and multilateral organizations can be promoter and safeguards for women's representation and leadership. Moving forward, it is crucial to ensure meaningful involvement of women in the policy-making process and leadership position in parliament and public governance. Substantive women representation and leadership can be increased direct engagement for more gender-responsive and inclusive policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Indonesia. Thank you so much. She's also a WPL ambassador in her country. So. Next is European Union.
Dear strong women, dear female political leaders, it's all about fighting toxic patriarchal structures. And of course, this is in politics, and this is happening in companies. In the European Union, we delivered the last years a lot of dossiers which really changed the life of both men and women to the better. And above all this, about the so-called Women on Boards Directive. Also, our President Roberta Metsola talked about yesterday, and I was in charge of leading the negotiations. Representation of women, of course, in politics and in companies concerning the structures is very closely interlinked. And here, when you just look at the data, we just see wherever there are binding measures, we have huge difference, huge progress. Looking at the companies, 36% where they're in countries where there were really legislative measures, binding measures, you can find there about 16% where there are non-binding measures. So quota matter, binding measures matter. It's all about transparency and objective criteria, and that's exactly what we're doing in the Women on Boards Directive, and that's exactly what we always need when looking about women in power position in politics. It's the difference if you do binding measures or you don't do them. And we see, just in our European framework, it's not about using, sometimes we always say quota are needed, but in fact, it's always about abolishing the existing informal men's quota, pushing out those qualified women who really deserve to be there. And when introducing objective criteria, qualifications, sanctions, so control mechanisms, we definitely improve the situation to the better. So, where the toxic features of corporate culture are existing, we just, with these measures, change them completely. So making it normal for women to be leaders in companies, in politics, in countries, is our goal. We cannot wait, and we cannot hope for the goodwill of the men in power. We need to make structural changes by binding measures. Thank you.
Thank you. That was so powerful. It's very, very simple and yet so powerful. Legislative and binding measures, and just taking a perspective that it is normal for women to lead. That's a good approach. Let's take it from Zimbabwe.
Where is that? I think I'm short. I need this tool to climb.
Is everything okay?
It's okay. I need something to climb. I'm short.
You need something to climb on. I think we have something. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Madam Presidents, honorable speakers of parliaments, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to present the Zimbabwean delegation statement on increasing the number and influence of women in politics. What works? In Zimbabwe, women representation in parliament is at 34%. Women representation and participation is not advancing fast enough, despite progressive national gender policy and pieces of legislation which seek to promote gender equality. A range of barriers continue to limit women's political participation. Cultural norms about women's appropriate roles and leadership capabilities also continue to shape both aspirations and their opportunities in politics. There are also opportunities and factors that facilitate participation in various ways. Access to power tends to emerge more than communal and economic linkages, and these factors help explain patterns of women participation. Zimbabwe has embarked on various women economic empowerment programs. We have managed to put in place Women Development Fund, Community Development Fund, and the creation of Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Bank, as well as a fund aimed at assisting small and medium enterprises for women to recover from effects of COVID-19. Once women are economically independent, they can develop and pursue political interests without hindrance from economic and other barriers. There is, however, the realization that affirmative actions are effective in increasing women participation, like the quota system or the zebra system. Women aspirations decreased at local government level from 16% in 2013 to 14% in 2018. This was attributed to lack of quota system which was being applied in the National Assembly under Section 124 of the Zimbabwean Constitution. Pursuant to that, in 2022, Constitutional Amendment number 2 introduced the quota system in which 30 seats were reserved for women in all local government elections. There are ugly obstacles. 85% of women legislators report online harassment and abuse. 11% experience physical violence. Many more are minimized and, oh, sorry, I think I took a wrong paper. Please help.
Why don't you just speak? Because I'm sure you know some of it. We're running out of time and we don't want you to read another long paper.
No, it's not long, it's very short. Please, bear with me. Thank you. Bring the papers. This is it. Sorry, honorable members. It is anticipated that improved women participation in local government structures will go a long way in enhancing accountability, social justice, and equity in service delivery. Female councillors are more than likely to be interested in addressing services related to water, health, education, and refuse collection, since these services affect women more than men. It is the view of the Zimbabwean government that gender equality is a human right. It has ratified the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, Maputo Protocol, and SADC Gender Protocol on Gender and Development that emphasize the gender equality in all leadership. All political parties have been sensitized on the need for gender parity in line with Section 17 of the Zimbabwean Constitution. I am also pleased to report that the Zimbabwean National Constitution, through Section 14, 56, 78, and 80, has effectively domesticated major provisions from international gender protocols such as civil and political rights, Beijing Platform of Action, UN Security Resolution 1325, Maputo Protocol, SADC Protocol on Gender and Development. As a result, I am happy to report that party constitutions of all political parties have incorporated gender equality clauses. To increase women participation before, during, and even after the elections, the Zimbabwe Women Parliamentary Caucus drafted a manifesto which clearly outlines gender-sensitive policy issues and campaign messages. We anticipate that this will improve women campaigns and visibility, and this will influence voters to vote for women candidates. Thank you. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Zimbabwe. Dear sisters, let me give you a sense of what we're dealing with. We've got Bahrain, Iceland, Uganda, Philippines, Bulgaria, New Zealand, South Sudan, Romania, Tuvalu, Madagascar, Cote d'Ivoire, Jamaica, Latvia, Armenia, Portugal, Rwanda, Slovenia, Ireland, Cameroon, Thailand, Poland. We don't yet have confirmations from Mexico, Ghana, Eswatini, Cyprus, Georgia, Bosnia, Herzegovina. Now you see the long list. So if you like, come here and spend 10 minutes. That means we're going to be sleeping here. Do you want us to sleep here? Definitely not. So please, I beg you, when you come up, do it in 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. I'm really very happy to be with all these pioneers, women in political leadership. 2 minutes. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, through this summit and under the theme Representations Matter, we hope to reach common visions and share methods that push for further political representation of women to maximize their influence in the political decision process. It's especially significant as our current summit coincided with the 10th anniversary of the establishment of the WPL. The Kingdom of Bahrain has witnessed significant progress in the women advancement, which is related to the wise leadership support. This progress can be seen through women effective participation in the political decision-making process and their active contribution to the sustainable development from a gender perspective, particularly in achieving the 5th Sustainable Development Goal related to gender equality. Your Excellencies, the accomplishments of Bahrain women are numerous and we clearly manifested by their presence and capabilities in decision-making positions and political representations. This includes having 5 female ministers and representatives of 23% in the parliament chambers. We don't have quota in Bahrain. Bahrain strictly followed the national plan for the advancement of women from 2019 to 2022, and at the time being, the Supreme Council for Women is in the process of impact measurement of this plan. All the above achievements were based on the ongoing positive steps in reforming legislations that undermine women's rights in the chambers of the parliament. Thank you. I promise 2 minutes.
Yes. She's a woman of her word. Thank you very much, Bahrain. I hope that role modeling will happen immediately, and that when Iceland comes up, it will be 1 minute, 30 seconds. Let's clap for Iceland.
Dear guests, I'm very pleased with this new time management.
We missed you on few occasions. Gender equality is an important policy priority for the Icelandic government, both domestically and in our foreign policy. Iceland has topped the World Economic Forum Global Gender Gap Index for 14 years in a row, making it the country with the narrowest gender gap in the world. We rank high on women's educational achievement and women's political empowerment. Today, 48% of Icelandic parliamentarians are women, as well as the Icelandic Prime Minister. If I were to mention something that has made a big difference for Iceland's status when it comes to gender equality, I would of course mention strong female role models. The participants should bear that in mind. Another thing is the combination of guaranteed daycare and law on parental leave, which allows women to continue working post-children. Over several years, men taking parental leave in Iceland is now up to 90%. To get women involved in politics, one important thing is to make networking opportunities tailored to women in politics. Mentorship programs and training workshops can be good tools to get women involved. So lastly, for the networking opportunities, I have to mention that we have Reykjavik Global Forum that is held in Reykjavik in November. There you find a unique opportunity to connect and exchange best practices on gender equality and leadership. Save the dates have already been sent out, and all national parliaments will receive a formal invitation following the next days. Hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you, Iceland. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now it is Uganda. Uganda? Two minutes.
Thank you very much. I bring you greetings from Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, just like most of your countries, created the affirmative action seat. Aware that women play a crucial role in society and our contribution at all levels matters. So before the enactment of the 1995 Constitution, the participation of women in politics was minimal. So following that, and with women in parliament from 1996, a number of legislations aimed at repealing laws that discriminated women were enacted, like the Domestic Violence Act, the Employment Act, the Succession Act, which has recently been amended, and the Political Parties and Organizations Act. Despite these legislations, there are still traditional cultural attitudes that view women as inferior. The government has heavily invested in empowering women and put in place policies and legal frameworks to bridge the gap between women and men in decision making. Currently, women constitute 33% of Uganda's parliament, and of these, 26% are in parliament on the affirmative action seat, as enshrined by our constitution, which created one seat for a woman in each district. And of the 356 constituencies, only 21 women were able to win elections in these constituencies, representing just 5.9%. The women still struggle to compete and win these direct seats with men because of the parochial beliefs that treat women as inferior. Women are often discouraged due to discrimination by communities, the lack of confidence amongst women, the lack of resources, and bullying. Where women belong is often an issue during campaigns. If she is not married, she is told that she has no place to stand and represent the people. If she competes in the area where she is married, she is told she doesn't belong there. She should go back to their home. When she goes to their home area where she was born, she is told she's not married there. She should go where the husband belongs. So where does a woman belong? I'm here to speak to you as a typical example of a young woman who joined politics in my early 20s, and I was told by the men that the municipality where I had contested was a place for men. They told me to go to the women's seat. While the women said I wanted to go to parliament to look for men. Imagine they were women, but worried that I was going to look for men. So finally, I went to the women's seat. Though there, they again told me I was not married. But I challenged them and told them that I would represent them better than those women who were married before. And I'm here as a testimony that after fighting hard, I managed to win the women's seat, and this is my third term, and I hope to do a fourth term. So these issues, ladies and gentlemen, have led many women to shy away from contesting for political offices. The political parties, too, have not appreciated women and have not mainstreamed them in the leadership positions, and even discouraged women from showing interest in competing for direct seats.
30 seconds.
We still have a lot of work to do. As I conclude, we need to end the sexual violence and discrimination through legislation, through the Uganda Women's Parliamentary Association that I chair now. We have introduced the Sexual Offences Bill, and we hope that this will go a long way in dealing with some of those, the violence and sexual, looking at women with the sexual lenses. I have also introduced a constitution amendment increasing the number of women in Ugandan Parliament to 40%. This is still work in progress. In conclusion, the affirmative action approach still remains a means of getting more women in Parliament and in governance. The political will is there, but the action is still lacking in making gender parity a reality. Nations will not progress unless we end the oppression against women and girls. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. That was good. Thank you so much. It's now Philippines. Please clap for Philippines as they come up.
Excellencies and my fellow fearless sisters, please allow me first to recognize very quickly my delegation. Congresswoman Lorna Silverio, Congresswoman Linabel Villarica, our former country ambassador, Deputy Speaker Rosemary Baby Arenas. I first run for office in a district ruled by male political warlords who capitalized on guns, goons, gold, and gender discrimination. Nobody believed that I was going to win, but my mother did. She always said that a strong woman stands and fights for herself. A stronger woman fights for everybody else. On the eve of the election, my lone political ally then was shot beside me while we walked through the festive crowd. It did not crush my hopes. It only strengthened my resolve to put an end to the vicious cycle and culture of political violence and male hegemony. I want to become the first woman elected to the office, and 15 years later, I stand before you today, championing the cause of women's rights and gender equality, and committed to stand for the vulnerable. Times have changed a bit. With the latest score of 78.3% in the overall gender gap, the Philippines is one of the countries with the highest level of gender parity within East Asia and the Pacific, placing second to New Zealand. However, the Philippines has yet to meet the 30% of the critical mass. Although we still have to fight tooth and nail for every small victory over bias, stereotypes, discrimination, and marginalization. It is true that women's representation matters because it enables exclusive decision-making that breaks down bias barriers, which curtail their rights and limit their opportunities. But this is not enough because the increased presence of women does not automatically translate into women-friendly policy outcomes. Numbers alone cannot guarantee effective representation because not all women think, speak, and act for women. Substantive representation requires combining these numbers with actors, whether men or women, working for women. Effective representation makes women not only beneficiaries of change, but more importantly, as agents of change. In closing, let me quote a prominent feminist author. In the beginning, woman was truly the sun, an authentic person. It is now time, more than ever, that the world needs to see our light to make this world a better place. Let our light shine the brightest so that others can find their way out of the darkness. This is our place, and we deserve and belong here. Thank you.
I would vote for you any day. Such a brilliant speech. Thank you so much. I think we do need to bear this in mind. Numbers alone cannot guarantee effective representation. So when the women are in the space, they need to be effective. They must be effective. It's so important. All right, we want to have Bulgaria present. Bulgaria. Sisters, we're getting there gradually. We are getting there.
Dear ladies, dear leaders in life and in politics, thank you for these 2 wonderful days. Thank you for being here today, because this is our place. I'm pleased to be a part of and to intervene in this year's Women Political Leaders Summit, kindly so, hosted by the European Parliament and the Belgian Parliament in this wonderful, beautiful home of the Belgian Parliament. In recent decades, significant progress towards gender equality has been made in almost all spheres of life. However, it comes to women's representation and participation in politics, and when it comes to that, there is still a lot to be done. To this end, it's imperative that we actively work towards boosting of the number of women in politics and empowering them to have a substantial impact on policy making and governance. Bulgaria aims to promote the active participation of women in all spheres of life. This year, as a candidate for membership of the Human Rights Council for the period 2024-2026, Bulgaria pledges to put high on the agenda the issues of gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. Being already a member of 2 executive boards, these of UNICEF and the UN Women, is just another expression of our firm belief that multilateralism further contributes to our long-standing commitment to respect, promote, and fulfill all human rights, including women and girls' rights. Bulgaria has come a long way in ensuring that education, personal skills, and abilities determine the position one gets. Bulgaria is among the top 50 on the Global Gender Gap Index in 2022. Moreover, the share of women among those employed in internet computer technologies in Bulgaria is still the largest share among the EU member states, which is 28.9%. The percentage of female CEOs in Bulgaria is also impressive. Women's participation in politics is not just a matter of equality. It is essential for the creation of inclusive and effective democratic societies. Women bring unique perspectives, experience, care, and expertise to the table. These can help enrich decision-making. Processes on issues regarding from root causes of a conflict to promoting long-term peace and to creating more just
and equitable societies. It is a simple fact that when women are involved, politics tend to be more multifaceted and, at the same time, comprehensive, acknowledging the diverse needs and concerns of all citizens. We should not ignore the fact that numerous barriers continue to hinder women's representation in politics. Deep-rooted biases and societal stereotypes too often discourage women from entering the political arena. Limited access to mentorship and support networks that is still a part of our lives further contribute to the low and insufficient representation of women in politics. To address these barriers and achieve greater parity in politics, a multi-layered approach is required. We need to foster a supportive and inclusive political environment that values and respects women's contributions. Efforts should also be made to increase awareness about the importance of women's representation in politics. And ultimately, achieving greater female representation in politics requires a comprehensive and coordinated effort from all stakeholders involved. Governments, civil society organizations, political parties, educational institutions, and individuals themselves. They must all work together to create an enabling environment where women are empowered to participate and, of course, to lead. Having more women involved in politics is not only a matter of fairness, it is a crucial step towards building a more inclusive, safe, caring, and equitable democratic society. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sisters, you know, by this time, the thing that matters would be some unique, never said perspective. That's what you should give to us now, so that we can all go home. It's been too long. So when you come up, please don't repeat the same thing that other countries have said. You can simply say, I concur with everything my other sister said. Now, 2 things, and it will cost you just about 1 minute or the maximum 2 minutes. Please don't read long speeches anymore. I beg you. So please, it's time for us to take New Zealand. Clap, clap.
Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui kia koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. I greet you, your ancestors and your descendants in the language of the indigenous people of Aotearoa, New Zealand. I will try to be brief and I will try to be original. You may have heard that New Zealand was the first country in the world where women were given the vote, but this is not true. We were not given the right to vote. We took it. It took 6 petitions and 4 bills. The final petition was signed by a quarter of the adult women of the population at the time, and it was 40 years after that before the first woman was elected. I have the honour of being number 176, and somebody you may have heard of before, the Right Honourable Dame Jacinda Ardern, was number 99. The 53rd Parliament has seen massive achievements for women in Parliament. In October last year, we achieved 50-50% in the House of Representatives, and last month we got 50% women into our cabinet. But we don't have I know it's worth applauding, but we do not have a parliamentary quota, so how do we do it? One of the major political parties, the New Zealand Labour Party, which I'm a member of, currently in government, have 50% women in caucus written into their constitution, as do the Green Party. And without these quotas, I don't believe that we would have achieved 50-50. People have spoken before about quotas. I think the only thing I want to add is that it does not mean we have inferior candidates, because getting into politics is still so hard for women, even in New Zealand, that the women who we are getting into politics with our quotas are exceptional women without exception. Our quota places are taken by exceptional women. It took 53 parliaments to get 50% women in the House of Representatives and Cabinet, but this is a fragile achievement, and we must fight to keep 50% women, because it matters, because when women are in power, everyone benefits. But before I go, I just want to quickly acknowledge the work and achievements of our former Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Dame Jacinda Ardern. Incidentally, the second woman to give birth whilst in office. Benazir Bhutto was the first. Because she taught us that you can lead with compassion and empathy. You can, in fact, lead as yourself. And that is something, in my opinion, that is worth fighting for. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you. And we all love your former Prime Minister. Thank you. Let's call on South Sudan. Clap, please, clap, clap.
Your request to clap for me, I'm only one here. Thank you, thank you. I'm very pleased and really, really honored to be here today. Dear Senate, my colleague, honorable members in their countries, actually it's an honor. It's an honor really to come all the way from Africa and aware other people who doesn't know about South Sudan or about my country. I will try my best to be short and brief. Actually, South Sudan, I think, is the youngest country in the world. Nowadays, the youngest one is we got our independence in 2011. That's where we obtained our independence. So we are very happy to have our own country around in the world. South Sudan, and the way we see our country today, we have a lot of challenges. But the challenges is only in my country. Many countries have a lot of challenges, but they overcome. And I'm sure we will overcome the struggle we are going through nowadays. We as a woman in South Sudan, our country, we had the first election in 2010. First election we have few MPs who came through election, which is difficult, because first time having an election, and you have a lot of men who are competing to be elected as a member of parliament, and then those few women who managed to come during the election, I'm among them, and I'm very happy to be part of those females.
Clap for her.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Also, we are struggling to be part of the leadership, because you see in Africa, women, we are oppressed in many places. And since our country is a young nation, men always really try to get away with everything. But we really try our best to fight the few females who are in government. They try to fight for those who are outside to be part of the government, which we are really happy to have those females in the government. Also, we have now 26 MPs in the parliament, national parliament. We have 26, and then we have 5 in East Africa community, 3 MPs in East Africa community. We are all part of it, and then we have 2 in Pan-Africa MPs, because when we really need MP to be part of those areas, it's really struggle. But the good thing that in our country, we have 35% affirmative action. This 35%, in every political parties, you must implement those numbers to bring female in that party. And that one give us an upper hand to have few females in political arena.
30 seconds.
Thank you. And then we have a first vice president in my country in 2018. This is the first time in history in South Sudan to have a first the first female vice president. We have one. And then in South Sudan, we have the first time a speaker. A speaker of parliament. This is the first time we have a female speaker in South Sudan, which is a privilege too, to have that chance. Because all this long, the MP, the speakers, they're all male. There's no female. And then we have a very first time defense minister, female. It never happened. And then when we have the defense minister, female, at least the peace in my country, it was a bit better. Because we women, we are the peace lover. We love peace. Because we are a peace lover, we try our best. Those who holding the arm, the men, because the men are the one holding the gun. We try to really subside that situation. I have another message I want to really bring into your attention, and I really want us to work as leaders of the nation, and leaders of the world. Now there's a war in Sudan, and I believe now the Sudan's MPs are not here. There is a war in Sudan, and this war, any war in every country affected another country near to it. Now the war in Sudan, because Sudan and South Sudan, there was one. Now this war has a big impact in South Sudan nowadays. The war in Sudan is affecting South Sudan and Ethiopia, by the way, and Ethiopia. All the people who are in Sudan, they flew to South Sudan and Ethiopia. And before the independence of South Sudan, the people of South Sudan who were living in Sudan, they never came back to South Sudan because they love to be in Sudan, because we were one country before. Now with this war, they all flew back to South Sudan. And then South Sudan has difficulties. Economically, we have a lot of situation there with all this number of people. We have difficulties to really obtain these people. Now we're going to have diseases because all those IDPs who are around the borders, they have difficulty to get food, the basic need, they don't have it. So we really want, I really want the international, the world leaders, female, to try their best, peace to be implemented in Sudan. Ceasefire must be obtained, because if there's no ceasefire, the war continuing up to now is really challenges to Sudanese people. I believe we women, together, we can change the world. Together, we can lead the war, lead the women. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. I allowed you that extra minute because you raised a matter of importance. Part of what our theme this year has been on women in peace and conflict and resolutions and all of that. And we talk about the Ukraine war, but there are words that are hardly ever spoken about. And so she needed that opportunity to remind us that in Africa, there is a war raging, and that it is happening in the eastern part of our continent, in Sudan, and it's affecting the neighborhood. We hear you. Thank you very much again. Romania? Romania, yes. Let's clap.
Madam Chair, dear ladies, it is an honor for us, my colleague and me, to be here and to work with you in these 2 days. Very shortly, the representation matter is a problem in our society too. We have a beautiful country with beautiful people, so we kindly invite you to visit Romania. But if we talk about the gender equality, I will say for you just one example. The president of the Committee of Equal Chances is a man in the Chamber of Deputies, so it's clear. We have now 19% of women in Parliament, and in the last mandate we had 21, so it's decreased. So we need a quota. But for the quota we need a political will, because it is very easy to say that we need a quota, but how to modify the law to have a quota. In 2015, when I chaired the Human Rights Committee, I had an initiative to introduce each third from other gender. I went with this initiative for each president of each party from the parliament. Each of them signed it, and nobody voted. This is the solidarity. So now we have another initiative, law initiative in the parliament, and I hope that 30% from eligible places, I hope that it will be voted, and then we can make a step on forward. What I want just to underline the importance of women organizations inside of parties, because the women organization is the place, or the place we can offer for us solidarity, to promote young women and to use all the tools what we have, women in different chairs, to promote women. So I think that our declaration for today, that this is our place, is something what we will use also in Romanian Parliament, and I wish you all the best, and I hope that we will meet soon in Bucharest. Thank you.
Thank you, Romania. Thank you. Repeat after me, this is our place. You're sounding like you're so tired. And I know you are. But say it so that you get some energy for the remaining 14 countries. Say, this is our place. This is our place. Very good. So let's call Tuvalu. Tuvalu, are they here? Excellent. Please come. Madagascar, get ready, and Côte d'Ivoire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable members of Parliament, Excellencies, ladies, and I can't see the gentleman and the great gentleman left in the room. Yeah, as said by the Chair, I'm not going to repeat what I have prepared to say because it's not new news to you, but if I may share what I want to share, that I think is new to everybody. I'm from Tuvalu Parliament. I'm the only woman parliamentarian for the past 9 years. I am chair of the Public Accounts Committee this term. The last term I was in Cabinet as Minister of Natural Resources, the main source of revenue for our country. And this time I'm chair of the Public Accounts Committee and also I'm member of the Constitutional Review Committee. I have to say that, one, I learned a lot. I went in with a purpose to improve health. From my lessons learned as a medical professional in my field of medicine, my country facing non-communicable disease crisis and climate change crisis. At that time, we were doing a lot of amputations, and I think you heard from my speaker who spoke yesterday, we are from a very small population. Our country has a very small population. So at that time, as an anesthetist in the country, as medical superintendent in the hospital, the only hospital in the country, I realized that if we continue at the rate we were going with the amputations, our country will be one-legged population in many 10, 20 years' time. So I decided I can't perform anymore because I'm doing my best, but we're not getting change because my plans are going into the files in the high administration level. So I thought to myself, I'm not going to make any change. And somebody said, only if you can be on the right table. I said, where's the right table? Said, in Cabinet, I'm going there. So that's why I left for that. Then I realized that I'm such an ignorant woman. I went in there thinking I can just go and join Parliament. Then I learned in Tuvalu, where it is a male-dominated country, women, culturally and traditionally, our place is at home. I was blinded because growing up, I've been in no competition with men because I've been excelling in the profession that I was in. And I didn't feel that there is an issue. I'm so blinded, I'm so ignorant. And first day of campaign, this is 3 weeks before elections, I finally realized that in my country, because of that culture and traditional barrier, men take off from here. We take off from this platform. Because first we have to fight to be recognized for a new role that is so-called a men's role. When men come in, they are here and they jump further, and we have to try and come up to the platform they are in. And that is my answer to why is female representation in Parliament.
30 seconds.
And therefore, I decided to myself, I need to do a lot. And that's what I've been doing. I became the most and only advocate in Parliament for women, something I never thought I will do. So beside my purpose in Parliament for health, I found myself, I discovered I have a better purpose there for women. So now I want to share one, I just need to share this. There is discrimination against women in Parliament. In my constitution, it's silent about sex. One section in my constitution says that there should not be discrimination against, and it starts, against a person because of his color, race, religion, political beliefs, so, but nothing about sex. I've tried to put in the review of the Constitution to include the word sex, to value ratified CEDAW, to value ratified CRPD. CRPD is now proposed to be in the amendments of the Constitution. Sex is not accepted. And just before I came, I was going through a public consultation to try and talk about the inclusion of sex in the discrimination section. I have to say that it's sad. I've been discriminated because I'm saying something that is not a problem. They say it's not a problem in the country. Women are fine as they are, and that is the challenge. Women are brought up to be happy where they are, and that is my ongoing challenge. Thank you, ladies, for giving me the energy to go back and continue the fight, because I have a lot of work to do, but just being here, I asked Speaker, send me to that conference because I was invited. Because this is my only opportunity to hear from women, to get, enrich with all the experiences, and I acknowledge all the work every woman from all the countries have done. We belong to a global parliament for women, and I am one that appreciate this meeting very much. And thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Please, because of time, I want to ask if you can provide the email addresses for participants.
We would seek permission and
so
then
I can
let you know.
Pick and get more from all.
We would seek permission
you,
and then let you know. Thank you. Thank you so very much. She went from barely just being interested in some issues to becoming the voice for women, to becoming the voice for the nation within her parliament. Let's please encourage her again. And now it's Madagascar. It's Madagascar. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Bonjour à tous. Permettez-moi de me présenter brièvement. Je suis Masgoulamali Marie Jeanne d'Arc, députée de Madagascar, élue 2 fois dans le district de Tsiombe, indépendante au sud du pays. J'occupe le poste de la présidence de la Commission permanente du genre et du développement au sein de l'Assemblée nationale. Je suis membre de la Commission permanente du genre et de la protection des jeunes du FP-SADC, et bien sûr, je suis l'ambassadrice de WIP pour Madagascar depuis 2017. Nous savons tous que les programmes pour les femmes et la paix et la sécurité reposent sur 4 grands piliers. La nécessité d'accroître la participation des femmes à tous les niveaux de prise de décision en matière de prévention, de gestion et de résolution des conflits. La prévention et la protection des femmes et des filles contre les violences sexuelles et sexistes en temps de conflit. Face à le programme, Madagascar a essayé de faire un grand pas en proposant une loi relative à l'interruption thérapeutique des grossesses en 2021.
dont je suis l'initiatrice, et une loi sur la participation des femmes aux postes de décision. Madagascar n'est pas exclu. Les défis restent collés dans le quotidien et devant tous les Malagasy. Chez nous, il n'y a pas longtemps, des faits, des actualités nous ont fait rappeler ces phénomènes. À titre d'exemple, je suis élue dans une région là où il y a une forte concentration des cultures basées surtout sur les discriminations dont les femmes continuent de faire l'objet. Mais malgré tout, je suis là, bel et bien élue 2 fois députée de Madagascar et fut la première femme élue dans ma région et mon tribu d'où je viens. C'est que je veux en venir. Les petites injustices ne sont pas l'effet d'une personnalité ou les circonstances particulières et qui, une fois cumulées, aboutissent à une inégalité majeure des faits. Elles traduisent les anomalies du quotidien. Nous devrons assumer les recours aux quotas de progression, aux objectifs. Et nous devrons considérer que tous les secteurs devront montrer la voie. Nous avons un devoir d'exemplarité en matière d'égalité femmes-hommes, tous les secteurs, à travers tout l'établissement et toutes les structures qu'ils soient, doivent sentir l'obligation et le devoir d'ouvrir toutes les portes, parce que le contraire signifie la privation de plus de la moitié du développement en général. Chers tous, je suis convaincue, je suis déterminée à agir par tous les moyens qui sont à ma disposition. J'invite toutes les structures, les acteurs, les secteurs que vous représentez à prendre des engagements similaires. C'est la responsabilité de notre génération, la responsabilité de tous les décideurs, employeurs, programmateurs que nous représentons. À nous d'échanger les choses au présent, à nous de donner une chance à l'avenir. Notre action ne s'arrête pas d'ailleurs pas là. Il nous faut des mesures quant à l'activité économique et de nouvelles pratiques favorisant la parité au niveau politique. Plus la représentation des femmes dans la vie politique sera importante, plus cela servira la cause des femmes en général. Les combats pour l'égalité est bien évidemment un enjeu de justice, mais aussi un enjeu essentiel d'efficacité sur tous les plans, politique, économique et social. C'est de la participation de tous et sur un pied d'égalité à l'activité économique et administrative que nous tirerons notre croissance, nos emplois et notre cohésion sociale. Pour finir, j'apprécie votre invitation, Oman Politique Leaders, à assister à la sommet et je vous en remercie infiniment, Madame la Présidente et fondatrice, Madame Silvana Kohn, fondatrice de WIP. J'espère qu'après ce sommet des 10e anniversaire, nous prendrons une décision ferme pour nous soutenir mutuellement, comme le dit le dicton malagasy, Asafati Kabar, traduit librement, action mais pas parole. Mes sœurs honorables, je vous remercie pour votre agréable attention. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Merci beaucoup. Let's take Côte d'Ivoire, followed by Jamaica. Do we have Jamaica in the room? Excellent. Côte d'Ivoire.
Madame la Présidente, Excellences, mes chères sœurs, en Côte d'Ivoire, la loi favorisant la représentation de la femme dans les assemblées des élus a été votée en 2019. Elle permet une représentation féminine de 30% de femmes sur le nombre total de candidats présentés au cours des consultations électorales. Bien que cette loi ait été prise, il convient de noter que la représentation des femmes au sein des organes politiques et des institutions demeure à ce jour très insuffisante. Quels sont les objectifs qui empêchent les femmes d'entrer en politique? 2 obstacles majeurs. Il s'agit des entraves structurelles causées par des lois et des institutions discriminatoires qui réduisent la possibilité aux femmes de voter ou de se porter candidate au mandat politique d'une part, et d'autre part des pesanteurs socio-culturelles. L'éducation des jeunes filles est différenciée de celle des jeunes garçons. Ces 2 obstacles se matérialisent à travers l'absence de politique d'autonomisation des femmes et des filles, la persistance des stéréotypes, la discrimination pertinente à l'encontre des femmes en droit et en pratique, et enfin l'absence de moyens financiers des femmes reste encore tributaire des choix des partis politiques. Pourquoi plus de 90% des chefs d'État ou de gouvernement du monde sont-ils des hommes? À ce sujet, il faut noter l'inexistence ou l'inapplication des textes de loi en faveur d'égalité des sexes, la persistance des formes de violence à l'égard des femmes en politique, les pesanteurs socio-culturels, on laisse moins de place aux femmes en politique, la méfiance même des femmes par rapport au système et le déficit de formation. Pour arriver à la parité, il conviendrait d'endiguer par l'éducation et la sensibilisation de certains stéréotypes liés à la femme, ainsi qu'introduire des modules de leadership dans le programme scolaire dès le primaire. Développer au sein des parlements les caucus des femmes parlementaires afin de mieux défendre les questions d'égalité des sexes. Promouvoir et permettre l'autonomisation des femmes et des jeunes filles. Garantir la participation entière et effective des femmes et leur accès en toute égalité aux fonctions de direction à tous les niveaux de décision dans la vie politique, économique et publique. Que les femmes parlementaires élues et les organisations de femmes interagissent autour des joutes politiques de l'émancipation de la femme. Pour élargir la participation politique des femmes, il faut démocratiser la politique pour que l'élection ne dépende pas en grande partie de l'argent. Mettre en place des stratégies relatives à l'organisation interne du parti, à savoir aborder l'égalité des sexes et des statuts du parti. On peut par exemple inscrire une déclaration sur l'égalité des sexes dans les documents fondateurs du parti. Adopter des mesures, y compris des quotas internes pour les femmes, pour que les femmes soient présentes dans les conseils de décision. Se fixer des objectifs pour la participation des femmes au congrès du parti. On peut par exemple organiser des forums distincts pour les délégués. Créer un département ou des sections féminines qui devraient faire officiellement partie des instances des partis avec les rôles et les responsabilités bien définis et si besoin le financement nécessaire. Veiller à ce que les questions d'égalité des sexes soient intégrées dans toutes les politiques d'orientation du parti. Je vous remercie. Je suis Madame Diaby Makani, vice-présidente du Sénat de Côte d'Ivoire.
Merci beaucoup. Really great work. And the women of Côte d'Ivoire are very strong. So we're not surprised at all. Jamaica. Yes, let's clap. Let's clap for Jamaica. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam. Excellencies, ambassadors, delegates, members of parliament, and representatives of participating states, I bring you greetings from the government and people of Jamaica. Jamaica is very delighted to participate in this forum, especially at a time like this in our island's history, where we now have a new all-time high of 29% of women elected and serving in leadership in the House of Representatives. We believe, like other nations, that some of the barriers why women are kept out of politics or do not enter politics is, of course, because we're seen as the core of the family. However, there has been a shift in Jamaica, or Speaker, Deputy House Leader in the House of Representatives, and Leader of Government Business in the Senate are all women. 4 of our cabinet ministers are women. The designs of our new parliament to be built shortly features a daycare and homework center for parliamentarians and also staff of parliament. One of the reasons why we believe 90% of the world's head of state or government men, of course, I think most persons would believe, have a similar belief, is due to the perception that politics is a male-dominated profession. Those women in Jamaica who were able to rise to the top and dispel that belief were marked as being an iron lady, such as the Most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, or former Prime Minister. We believe we can get to parity in political leadership by mentoring and encouraging young women from youth to run for leadership. We recently hosted 63 young women trained and sat for a day as parliamentarians. 70% of students on campus universities now are women. In law school, fewer women than men, a distinct shift from the 80s and 90s when you were lucky to see 2 or 3 women in law school. Majority of our permanent secretaries in government and middle managers now in Jamaica are women. We have encouraged the rise of women in administrative leadership in government and the private sector, and believe this will encourage more of them to step up and use their talents to serve their country in political leadership. Last December, we established our first Women's Parliamentary Bicameral Caucus, where we celebrate bridging the political divide as women. This is a significant achievement for us. I strongly believe that the success and the work of this caucus and its impact on the society will increase the interest and recruitment of future women political leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quite an impressive range of things in Jamaica. Well done. Latvia, followed by Armenia. Is Latvia here? No? Okay. Armenia, is Armenia here? No? Oh, yes. Okay. Please clap.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you on behalf of the parliamentary delegation of Armenia. To lead like a woman, what does that mean? Is there a special way in which women lead? Yes, we can talk about a way in which women tend to lead. Obviously, people manifest different qualities to different degrees, regardless of their sex. Some of us are more collaborative, others are more competitive. Some of us focus more upon the end results, others focus more on the process. Some of us are comfortable with and pay attention to emotions, others stick to what they believe to be the rational. So indeed, people are not clear-cut packages of masculine and feminine qualities. People are endless combinations of these qualities in variation. But let me argue that globally and for centuries, success in politics and in the public sphere in general has been defined by qualities that are socially nurtured and perceived as masculine. Competitiveness dominates usually over collaboration. Results steal away attention from the process. Behind a deceptive facade of rationality, emotions are viewed as a sign of weakness. On the one hand, we, as women in power, increase in ourselves the qualities that are often perceived as masculine to obtain success within the status quo. On the other hand, leading like a woman means also to choose to pave way for the qualities that are culturally constructed as feminine, and to make sure these qualities also define success in politics and the public sphere. Then, of course, men can see value in doing so as well and choose to lead in a feminist way. So as we assert our independence and engage in competition, we can also nurture more interdependence and collaboration. As we assert individuality and strong will, we can also nurture more community and care. As we assert pragmatism and intellect, we can also nurture emotions. As we assert our vigilance, we can also build more trust for all. And that is what leading like a woman means. That is what leading like a feminist means. And that is what leadership ultimately should mean. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very inspiring. Thank you, Armenia. Portugal. Portugal. Yes, let's clap for them.
Hello to all who are still here. I'm Nina Lopes. I'm a member of the Parliament and represent with my friend Emília Cerqueira the Portuguese Parliament. Please clap your hands for my friend Emília and for the resistant women who stay here listening to me. Please clap your hands. Because I don't have time, but you know you are politics. You don't want only to listen, you want to speak. And because I don't have time, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you. Who is here? Only who is here. In this moment, and I agree with everything you said. Paraphrasing J.F. Kennedy, please don't ask what gender equality can do for you. Ask what you can to do materialize equal rights for men and women. Thank you for your attention and just be yourself. It's our time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking instruction. You simply said, I agree with everything that has been said, but I leave you with one message. Paraphrasing JFK, don't think of what gender equality can do for you. Think of what you can do for gender equality. I think it's one of the best presentations. Thank you so much. We now call on Rwanda. Rwanda. Madam Deputy.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Rwanda has done a lot in terms of gender equality. I want only to share with you a quote from the President of the Republic, one of the best quotes, the quote I like. He said, "Women and men are equal in terms of ability and dignity, and they should be equal in terms of opportunities. As Rwandans, as a global community, we need every member of our society to use his or her talents to the fullest if we are ever to reach our development goals." End of quote. The strong engagement of men in gender equality dialogues could play a crucial role in accelerating implementation of gender equality. Let's engage men in all we do to advance women's rights. I conclude by inviting you all to Kigali. Similar discussions will be continued in Kigali because Rwanda and in collaboration with Women Deliver, we are organizing the Women the Liver Conference 2023, which will be held in July from 17th to 20 this year. So sisters, you are all welcome to Kigali, and you may attend the conference virtually. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And if you've never gone to Kigali, I promise you, you would enjoy being in Kigali. So please go to Kigali, if you can manage to do so. Thank you again, Rwanda. It's now Slovenia. Yes. You need you need to climb up?
It's
You're
okay.
Good? Okay.
I'm small one, but you know, everyone knows. So my dear sisters, there are still a few of us left and persevering, but we are still stronger, and we are stronger together. Nothing can stop us. That is the point. Greetings on behalf of myself and my Slovenian colleagues. 40% of MPs in our National Assembly are women, the highest share in the history of our parliament. This is the success for our country. We have a club of famous parliamentarians. We discuss a lot about the aggression in Ukraine and position of women in politics and society. What we want to address two topics. The first one, we are also united in our support for Ukraine and condemn the war attacks and destruction of homes as well as historical artifacts. We have to raise our voices in support of Ukrainian women, mothers and children who are losing their husbands, fathers and sons to war. This is wholly unacceptable in the 21st century. The second topic is sexism. Sexism and sexist behavior are rooted in gender stereotypes. Women employed in traditional male environments like business, financial, the military or politics are often victims of sexism. Eliminating stereotypes and sexism is typical male professional structures, such as the military, police, and diplomacy, is therefore an important aspect of fighting against entrenched stereotypes and sexist behavior. But I would like to talk about online violence is also rising among children, teenagers, and politics. This kind of violence is becoming dangerous for individuals and society. We suggest one of our next regular meetings also include this topic. This is very reason. Unfortunately, I cannot end this speech without mentioning domestic abuse, violence against women and femicide, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. Our duty as political decision makers is to take responsibility for adopting measures to protect and help women victims of violence, as well for effectively implementing protect laws. Thank you to the organizers and panelists for a very well prepared meeting. So we are stronger together, nothing can stop us. Thank you.
Yes, nothing can stop us. Thank you so very much, Slovenia. Thank you. We're excited by the progress you continue to make. Ireland, yes.
Thanks very much. So, Ireland has 40% women in Shanadarin. Shanadarin is like our Irish Senate. And can you believe it? 40%. We are nearly at gender equality, gender parity in our Senate. But yet, we've so much more to do. So much more to do in our local government and in our House of Lower Representatives. But Ireland is taking action. We've implemented gender quotas, 30% of all candidates for parties in 2020 in our last national election. Next election in Ireland, we will have 40% women standing for election. 40%. This is driving change within our political system, but again, we need to do more. Maternity leave. We just changed the legislation to allow and to ensure that women have choice at local government level. That means that they have a choice of a substitute and can take maternity leave. Our Minister for Justice, Senior Minister, has just taken 2 sets of maternity leave. Our Senior Minister for Justice in our Cabinet. In Ireland, we held a Citizens' Assembly on gender equality, and a lot of those recommendations are under review. We have groups to support women going for election, and we have groups that are there to mentor and support. But to see it and to be it, when we look around sometimes, we see men on the walls, you know, when you look around, and they're great men. But we need to see great women as well. In the Oireachtas, in Ireland, we've literally set about making sure that there are more images of women. We've montages of all of our public representatives, our TDs and our senators, and also all of our senators from the start, which is fantastic. I'm Senator Aisling Dolan, and it's an honour to lead the Irish delegation here with Deputy Rheda Cronin. And she's a TD in Dáil Éireann, and again, for me, coming from a small town in Galway, in the west of Ireland, it's incredible to be here representing Ireland today. Our population has doubled, literally since the 60s. From literally roughly about 2.5 million, we're now 5.2 million people in Ireland. We've 2.6 million people at work, the highest figures to date. We've a really ancient heritage, but we're quite a young nation, only 100 years. A republic, a democracy, and a country for men and women. The European Union has been one of those joining the European Union, has really changed, I suppose, rights for women. It really advanced our rights, and a trailblazer, Mary Robinson, who was only, of course, here this morning, one of our speakers and one of our winners. Mary Robinson was our first female president in Ireland in 1990. Like, I was a young woman at that stage, and the power of having a role model like Mary Robinson is absolutely incredible, and it was for so many men and women in Ireland as well, and it changed the landscape of our country. Within those years, the percentage doubled of women representatives in our Dáil. But role models are really important, and we see that all the time. Ireland won a prize for peace, and as has been said here earlier, it's built on the shoulders of so many. But we've seen our MEPs, we've seen our commissioners, we've seen so many women representing Ireland. But instead of talking about challenges, I want to talk about what motivates us, what makes us go forward, and what drives you. What drives each of you? Because for me, to become a public representative, it was because I got angry. I got annoyed about what was happening in my own community. But we can do things to motivate people. Once you have that motivation, why can't we fix all of those other issues? Let's fix childcare, let's fix the culture, let's give the confidence, let's ensure that candidates are there for selection. Let's ensure that we have student councils in our primary schools and our secondary schools. Let's bring those student councils to our houses of representatives. Let's make sure there's mentorship, and let's make sure there's finance. I suppose I just want to finish with saying that as a public representative, every day is so exciting. It really is. You don't know what is going to happen to you on a certain day, who's going to call you, who's going to ask for help, but you're doing your best and you're volunteering. And I just want us all to show that women can enjoy this role. It is tough, it is hard, you're going to be doing so many hours work, but let's show that you can enjoy it. You can enjoy this role, you can achieve so much, and you can achieve change. I suppose, final thing, be ambitious, be confident, and be passionate. Dream things that never were, and ask why not. And go around míle magat. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ireland. Thank you. Once you mentioned Mary Robinson, we had to just allow you talk, because she's a global treasure for all of us. She really is. We're winding up. Now we will take Cameroon, followed by Thailand. No, Cameroon first, and then Thailand. Cameroon, are you ready? Yes. Do you want to speak? So we said next we will take you. Okay, so cross it out. Okay, thank you.
My dear sisters, good evening, and accept greetings from Cameroon. They say he who laughs last loves best. So those of us who are coming last, we might have the best of all in the evening. Cameroon recognizes the political power of the woman, number one. And this is a fact now recognized by everybody in the country, what women can do as voters. And this is a big campaign now for all of us to have as many women on the electoral register. Now, the situation for us in Cameroon has changed very significantly over the years. In the Senate, out of 100, we have 33 women. In the National Assembly, out of 180 people, we have 65 women. And in the area of ministers and those who rank as such, out of 59, we have 11. We are still very lacking there. And the greatest, the area where we are lacking the most is in the municipal councils. You will not believe this, but out of 364 mayors, there are only 39 women. And you know that the municipal councils, that is the area that deals directly with the people. And women are people who do politics with their heart and not with their heads. So to have them not be present in the municipal councils is a big challenge. And we're really working hard to close that gap. Now, we agree with everything that has been said here. The breakdown of the barriers, why women do politics and so on, why they are, we agree with everything that has been said. I'm not going to repeat those things. However, there's one point that I would like to make. We women in Cameroon, we have refused to look upon ourselves as victims. We want to be considered as volunteers. What's the difference? Volunteers ask questions and they come up with solutions, or they make proposals. That is where we want to be. We want to be able to see clearly what the problems are and to come up with suggestions. We don't want to be seen again as victims. So we are moving out of the blame game. Anybody who wants to blame us for doing that, it is their cup of tea. We would strongly suggest that all the points that have been taken here or that have been advanced here be put together, be sort of put in different groups, in different headings, put together, and let every person who participated here go home with, or be able to have all those points, because they are also similar. Then we can work on those points that we have in hand. I think this is all that I have to say.
Thank you,
and
Cameroon.
it's been wonderful being here. Thank you very much.
And now Thailand. Please clap for Thailand.
I need opportunity to be tall. Madam Chairperson, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Madam Chair, for giving me this opportunity to share my view. I'm Suwani Sri Vechapan, Senior from Thailand. In many countries, discrimination on the basis of sex is punishable by the laws. However, traditional attitudes and gender norms still exist and keep more women from pursuing career leadership in politics. Women in politics are forced to work twice as hard to navigate the double-blind dilemma and prove themselves again and again that they are capable leaders. Furthermore, women in politics are exposed to internalized misogyny, possibly fueled by the media, when they are often criticized by their looks, their unladylike behavior, and their roles in the family, as the society often places women's value on their beauty, their delicacy, and their motherhood. The reason why the majority of the world head of state or government are men in series of people placing more trust in male leaders, and how people think of the leadership as inherently male. In fact, the leadership is learned, not innate. What we are fighting is the same as a generation of women have been doing before us, which is that women are able to thrive with opportunities and support system. Women can learn to lead, and people can learn to work with leaders who happen to be women. The promotion of gender equality and the support system for women in politics would theoretically attract more women to enter political sphere and would eventually achieve gender balance in leadership. Thailand does not have gender quota to boost women political candidacy, and political parties are free to nominate their own candidate to be elected as the Prime Minister or member of the House of Representatives for general election. As a result, I would say that the percentage of women politicians in Thailand is still low. Thailand is still working on this issue. Distinguished delegates from countries that use gender quota are welcome to share their experience on this matter. I would like to emphasize that we as a woman political leader need to keep working to promote women's voice and agency so that gender equality is not only a nice thing to have in a meeting, but instead of being in a way of life. Lastly, before I end up my speech, I would like to say thank you so much to Belgian Parliament to have a very warm welcome to us, and thank you so much to the BPL to organize such a wonderful meeting, and together we can make this our place. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Thailand. I didn't want to tell you that that would be the last presentation. I wanted you to hear it after the deed has been done. Are you happy? Are you happy that we've gone through all these countries? Excellent.
There should be Ukraine and Poland.
No, Poland is not here again. Yes. Okay, now, ladies, sisters, you have heard from these number of countries in their uniqueness. One thing that is very clear is there's not a single country that did not report some progress. Did you notice that? Yes, there was not a single country that did not record some progress. No matter how small, there's been some progress. And you can tell that it has mattered for women that organizations like women political leaders exist. The fact that we can all gather annually in some format through this annual summit or even the regional ones we do in respective parts of the world makes a big difference, because there's something about community. Community is what enables minds to come together and create solutions. And what we've seen in the last 2 days has been the epitome of community. There's been such diversity of ideas, a diversity of knowledge, of networks, of connections, of friendships. How many of you have made one friend or the other that you didn't have before you got here? Can I see you met a friend? That's it. That's the way the world works. I can tell you that. I brag these days that I am now 60 years old, so I do have some opinion. I do have some ideas of how the world works. These friendships would make a difference. Believe me, they would make a difference. Don't take the friendships that you've made in the course of this summit for granted. Keep in touch. Not only keep in touch with the individual friend, but make sure that you link into the massive networks that they also have, because that's how it works. On behalf of Silvana, you want to come, madam? Because you're going to be closing us out. No, don't listen to me. You have to close us out, because we have to celebrate Silvana. You know, it's so easy to be the one at the center of effort to bring people together. And then the person gets lost in that vision. And nobody even pays attention again. People become entitled to Silvana being there to gather people together. And then she and her team labor to do this, and people just have a good time and walk away. But I don't want us to do that. So I want us to give a special applaud to Silvana and to the WPL. Yes. Yes. You deserve it, my dear. Yes. And now, I also want the entire WPL team, because Silvana would not be the effective leader that she has been without this brilliant team of people. So please come, file out. If you're part of the WPL team, file out here. We need to get a picture of you in this lovely parliament building. Come. Come, David, come up front. Come, line up. Line up.
Where's George?
George, where are you? Come, every one of you. Yes, keep clapping for this team. What a marvelous summit. What a way to do a 10th summit. Where is George? Where are the others?
George
we
is
do need.
there.
Just coming from upstairs.
There are some of you upstairs. Come on down, please. Because, yes, excellent. Yes. We're celebrating.
Exactly.
We're celebrating.
We all need to develop all we want.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. You can see that you have a delegation of women from more than 80 countries of the world. We represent them this evening to say thank you to the WPL team that supports our dear Silvana to convene productive conversations of the kind that we have had in the last 2 days. Now, sisters, let us return the kindness by all of us that are part of WPL, including our WPL ambassadors, just clapping for each of you, the delegates that came from all of these countries of the world. No, you don't clap. Don't clap. We are the ones clapping for you. All right, WPL team, we're going to clap for these women that have come from every part of the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I give the last words to Silvana.
Thank you, dear Obi. Well, it's kind of impossible to follow you in your words, as it's impossible to have an as great walk as you do. So that leaves me a slight of speechless. I would like to also add thank yous to the wonderful team of the Belgian Senate.
Yes.
Who made tireless efforts to welcome us here. Hatice first and foremost, but everybody, the protocol, thank you so much. Everybody who helped here, the ushers.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a wonderful cooperation. Thank you so very much. Obi, let me thank you. You are such a role model to all of us here, and it's just wonderful to have you as a mentor and source of knowledge, inspiration, experience, and also fearlessness. I mean, you are somebody who doesn't allow to be kind of, oh no, no, you do. You what Rosalia said it. You go, girl. You go, girl. That's your attitude. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what I wish you had all a really, really good experience here. I would like to say, hope to see you in Armenia, 19th, 20th of October. Our dear Armenian friends are here. Yesterday, Anna showed this powerful video. It will be about peace, about democracy, and as she said it, our joint enemy is war. Mm-hmm. And not to end on this note, but Armenia is a beautiful, beautiful country. I was there 3 weeks ago, and I can only say you will enjoy coming there. 19th, 20th of October, hope to see you there again. Well, enjoy the sunshine and enjoy the next few days. Thank you for coming and thank you for joining.
Thank you. She's got... Yes.
Thank you very much. This would suit them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
The least you can say. Thank
you. Thank you. This is so beautiful. And it matches your
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's over.